This is In My Lounge Room, and I'm your host, Skye.
And I'm your other host, Damo. And on this week's episode, we're talking about so-called deal breakers.
Oh.
And what the fuck is that?
Hey, Damo.
Hey, Skye, how you going?
Just wonderful.
That's wonderful.
Oh, we're so polite.
Wonderful. I love that word.
I use it regularly.
Yeah, and I like fabulous.
Fabulous.
Because I think that good often doesn't cut it.
No, and you have those people when I go, oh, I'm good. They're like, but are you?
You're sure? Like, take my word for it.
Yeah.
That'll do, yeah.
Exactly.
What's been happening?
What has been happening? Just a lot of work, a lot of training, kids, lawyers. Yeah, all that stuff.
That sounds like fun.
Yeah, not really. No.
No, I'm being facetious.
Oh, really? You?
Obviously,
Never. What are you looking for? Something, anything. So basically, after 5 years of being separated, I made the decision to see a lawyer because I just felt like the sort of personal arrangement my ex and I had wasn't really appropriate. So off I went. It was fun. I walked and I drove away and I almost cried with relief just knowing that actually this is going to happen.
Yeah. So was that a like you felt like we're not going to talk about details because as you said, if there's lawyers involved, you don't want anyone to bias anything.
Exactly.
But you felt like you've been pushed to that position where like you've tried to just work things out and you just can't.
Yeah, that's exactly it. Yeah.
So it's because I think people like they look at that situation from the outside and they'll be like, oh, you're being vindictive or whatever. But sometimes people just can't work shit out.
Yeah,
so you need to be forced.
Yeah, I think we tried and I tried mediation and that never happened. And in the end, I was just exhausted and made the decision.
Yeah, fair enough. All right. Well, any other cool things?
I don't think so. Have I told you any cool things?
I don't know. Yeah, no, that was a thing. We discussed the podcast.
Yes.
But and I think we were like chatting last night and I'm like, we have to stop this conversation.
Yeah, I know.
Because this is content.
We'll send like a million voice messages and you're like, stop. And I'm like, okay.
Yeah, because I get caught. But we could just get our phones and just play the voice message.
Almost.
Just
and
lazy,
just
sit here. And like, yeah. Although, speaking of, you did get some voice messages from people.
I did.
Are they comfortable with that being played on the show or do you just want to read them out? Or you just want to paraphrase what they've said?
I think I'll just paraphrase.
Yeah, okay.
Because I didn't get full permission.
Okay, so we don't want to put people's voices on. Even if they don't say their names, someone might recognise them.
They would definitely. A lot of people that we know would recognise them, yes.
Although, having spoken to Karen, she's like, I don't give a shit. Use my name.
Okay. So can we use her voice? I
don't know. But she has said to me, she said, if you ever read out any of my stories, because, her own posts online or messages she sent to me, I said, oh, we'll use a different name. She's like, nah, I've got nothing to hide. Use my name.
That's cool.
So, so she's given us that permission.
All right. Well, let's just...
Hi, Karen.
Hi, Karen. I'll just paraphrase this time. And if she sends me through any more, next time I'll play her.
Before we do actually
but
get
also,
into it.
how about you?
Oh, yeah, don't worry about me.
Okay.
My, work.
Yeah.
So many changes at work. It could be stressful, but it's not. Yeah, I don't know. I don't really get stressed about it anymore.
Okay.
Like, shit happens. I've got, like, a team of people I need to manage.
Yeah.
And everyone's an individual and COVID affects the team and, it's just so many things to deal with. But that's life. Apart from that, everything's cool.
Right.
Yeah. Billy got her period.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes. That's exciting.
10 years old. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
when does she turn 11?
In October. Yeah. But she got I don't know. She started developing like when she was 9. So because I knew it was coming. Like she was going through puberty. She's got everything's happened physically. So we sat down and I'm like, right, let's watch this video. And it was about getting your period.
Yeah.
And so like in the year you turn 11. Most girls these days are getting their period. So we had a good talk about it, and that was weird. Just give me a second.
That's weird. I'm going on strike.
Okay, let's just sort that out.
That's so random. No. And done. Cool.
I'm totally not even going to edit that out because that's funny.
Bang.
Yeah, it's right.
I know. Bang.
So that's what you get when you spend next to nothing on your camera stand.
Perhaps.
So anyway, so she was well prepared for it
That's
mentally. The only thing that got her is like when we discussed it and we watched the video, I said, "You got any questions?" She's like, "So that happens to everyone?" I'm like, "No, just women." She's like, "Oh, really?" And she goes, "So this happens to mum?" I'm like, yeah. She goes, "And Nana?" I'm like, "No, it doesn't happen to Nana." She's like, "Why not?" I said, "Because it only happens for a limited period of time and then you run out of eggs." And she's like, "What?" And then we're talking about, I said, "But the most important thing is not the bleeding and the ovulating and stuff. It's that it's going to affect you emotionally." And I explained it to her and the physical pain. And she's like, "I don't want that."
No.
I'm like, "Well,
no choice.
Sorry.
Yeah.
It's going to happen, and it's going to happen every month for the next like 40 odd years or longer or sooner." But I said, it's just what's going to happen. So when it's come around, her mum's dropped her off and she's like, "Oh, I've got something I need to tell you, but Billy doesn't want us to talk about it in front of her." So she messaged me later and told me, and I'm like, "Oh, okay, that explains a few things." Because over the previous couple of days, she'd been a little bit different. And then so she spent that night like just sitting on the couch watching TV very quietly. And I'm like, "Would you like some chocolate?"
Oh, yeah.
And she's like, "No." I'm like, "You sure?" And then I'm kept like, "How are you feeling?" She's like, "Yeah, I'm fine." Next day I was talking to mum about it, and Billy's like, "Oh, so is that why?" Because her mum's like, chocolate's really good thing to have when it's in that time. And it's, plus it, helps your endorphins and stuff, which can make you feel better. And Billy's like, "Oh, so that's why you're offering me chocolate." And
that's
she's
hilarious.
I'm like, "Yeah, just try to make things comfortable for you." She goes, "Yeah, well, I'm fine, all right."
See, meanwhile, my mum, the first time I stayed at home, I just ate ice cream, obviously, and normal food. But that was how my mum did it.
Yeah, no, Billy was just like, this was going to happen. But
I just took advantage of the day off. I was like, yes.
Well, Billy's the opposite. She hates days off.
Oh, I love
She loves being at school. But some women, like I've spoken to women who are like, "Yeah, I thought I was dying because no one told." Like we're talking like my mum's generation.
Yeah.
Yeah, thought I was dying because no one had told me what was going on. So like in the 60s or 70s or even the 80s, even today.
No,
there are women out there who don't know.
Yes.
Like because their parents don't tell them and
nothing.
they still think it's dirty. Like masturbation, like I was watching Sex Education. We were talking about that. And one of the characters on that didn't masturbate because she's like, "Oh no, that's weird and dirty." It's like, you're 16 years old.
Yeah. But there are a lot of women who don't because they feel that touching themselves is gross.
Yeah.
But will let their partner touch them. But it's weird. And I'm like, well, you know your own body.
You have to know your own body.
Yes.
Yeah.
And another thing, some women have never actually looked at themselves, like looked at their vagina, looked at any of it.
Well, I've got a close personal friend who I could tell a story about who rang me and she's like, "Damien, I've got genital warts." And I'm like, "What? Why? What?
Yeah.
What is that what the doctor said?" She goes, "No, I haven't been to the doctor." I'm like, "Well,
how do you know?"
Yeah. And she's like, "Because I had a look and it looks weird." And I'm like, "What do you mean weird?" She goes, "Oh, like there's these bumps." I'm like, "On your labia?" She goes, "Yeah." I said, "That's your labia."
Yeah.
And she's like, "Oh, look, go to the doctor." I said, "So why are you calling me? And she goes, because you you understand these things and you'll calm me down. And I'm like, that's your vagina.
Yeah.
Like, just go. She goes, because I looked inside and there's like these bumps and ridges and stuff. And I'm like,
yeah, that's normal.
I said, when's the last time you looked at it? And she goes, I don't look at it. I'm like, you're 42 years old.
Yeah.
You don't look at your own vagina. I said, do you test your breasts for lumps? She's like, yeah.
Oh,
I
but
said,
breasts aren't scary, you know. They're
no,
just
but
there.
and they're also right there.
Yeah.
And I said, but how much? She goes, I have to like look at it in a mirror or something. I'm like, yeah, put a mirror on the ground and squat
really
down and
easy.
have a look.
Yeah.
It's you need to know this. It's like men need to feel their testicles and like, or any of your body part.
Yeah.
So you know, like if you wake up one day and there's a huge lump on your cheek, you're like,
That's bad.
that wasn't there yesterday.
Yeah.
Your vagina's the same thing, woman.
But it's funny, like I know when I like, okay, so tampon education, the easiest way to do it rather than trying to feel and guess when you're 10 or 11 is a mirror.
They have these really cool undies. Sorry.
That's okay.
Yeah.
Period undies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I had no idea.
Yeah, and
But,
like the
like,
cup and things like that. There's so many cool things now.
They have a built, well, like the Diva Cup and stuff.
Yeah,
and we're
I
on
love
But
that.
like when you're 10 years old and you're getting your period, instead of having to learn how to use pads, because obviously you can't use
pads
tampons,
suck.
but like pads suck.
Yeah.
You get undies that are like,
Yeah, it's very
it's
cool.
built
I
in.
didn't have that when I was a kid.
No.
No.
But,
now I just had an ablation and had my like endometrium fully burnt off. It's great.
Yeah.
It's like fried chicken now.
I like fried chicken. Can we not relate it to a medical procedure?
That's what my gyno showed me. He's like, this is before I ablated you and now fried chicken. And I'm like, oh, okay.
I'm hungry. Fried chicken's great though. Yeah, well, yeah. So anyway, yeah, Nana doesn't have periods. Billy
No.
was like, well, that sucks. Men don't have periods. That sucks.
Yeah.
I don't want to grow up. But now it's hit her, like, because it's been 6 months now. She did have like a real light spotting about 6 months ago where it was just like, Dad, I wiped and there's blood, but then there was nothing else.
Yeah, that was just a start.
Yeah, and then now she's proper got them. But anyway, that's enough about periods. We could talk about
Woo!
bodily functions all day, but that's not what we're here to do.
We are not here for that. No.
Although we
Okay.
did talk the other week about your boys in the toilet seat.
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
so, yeah.
And just give me a couple more years. Like my oldest is 9. What, 2 more years? And I'll be discussing like boys and masturbation
Yeah.
and blah.
Yeah. But you know, we've got to make sure that they know they're normal.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah.
But anyway, what are we talking about?
So, well, when I messaged you, I said the word deal break, or 2 words, deal breakers.
Deal breakers. It's a term, yeah.
Yeah, term.
I'm not a fan of that, as
Okay.
I made it clear. Because I'm like, what are you talking about? Are we talking about like things that you don't want a prospective partner to have? So when you're looking for a new person, you like avoid these types of people because that's just a preference, which you can call a deal breaker. But a deal, you haven't made any
No,
deal.
haven't shaken
Or are we
hands.
talking like you've gone on a date with someone and they do some shit thing, like be rude to wait staff,
Yes.
where you just go,
No.
off. I don't think it's long-term relationship involved.
No, this is short term. Like, this is in the early days of dating.
Yeah,
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 This
'cause
is
it's
not
not
like
like-
10 years down the track.
No, where then suddenly you wake up and you go, I don't like the way you smell. Or it's like those videos you see, like TikTok kind of thing where it's like, just started dating. Oh,
Yes.
that's so cute.
Yeah.
And then like 3 years later, oh, that
Yeah.
drives me insane, that thing you do. You know, like
Yes.
if you just maybe, that's not a deal breaker. That's
No,
just a,
it's life.
you get used to. Have you seen Black Mirror?
No.
You need to watch it.
Okay.
It's really good.
Okay.
So season 4, episode 4 of Black Mirror. It's an anthology series, so every single episode is unrelated. There's
Right.
not a story.
Yep,
Like, you
okay.
can jump in at any time, watch
Cool.
any episode. They don't have to relate
But
to
start at episode 1, season 1?
Yeah, why not?
Yeah,
It's
cool.
interesting.
Okay.
Season 4, episode 4, it's called Hang the DJ. It's about online dating.
Oh.
And in this world, they have a little device that they carry around with them, and you can both agree to, with a fingerprint recognition, for it to tell you your expiry date. And you're committed into that relationship for that period of time.
Whoa.
So you match with someone, and then it might say 12 months. It might say 24 hours. It might say 3 years.
Really?
And you keep doing that until you find your ultimate match. And the system like reads how you interact with the person and different things and until it eventually matches you up with your perfect person who you then stay for the rest of your life, right? So everyone does it. It's not just a choice. That's how you meet people.
Yeah, okay.
Right? So anyway, that then comes in with a lot of other things. If it's just 12 hours and you really, really hit it off with the person, well, too bad. You get 12 hours with them. You might have 10 in a row where you only get 12 hours with them.
Okay.
Or you might have to spend a year with someone who does something that pisses you off.
And you're stuck with them for a year.
Yeah.
Ooh.
But that's what the show's like. It's just all these different like, scenarios based on what we do today, but then pushed into a really extreme sense. So one of those things is there's a character and he does this, like he'll take a drink. Every time he sips his drink, right?
Yes.
And the girl is like, And then at some point in the relationship, she goes back at him and he's like, what? And she goes, oh, that little thing you do, because it started to annoy her after every time you take a drink. And he's like, oh, I didn't realize I did it. Oh, well, if it bothers you, I'll stop doing it. And then he turns back to his book, sticks his finger in his ear and pulls it out and then looks at his earwax and rolls it around in his finger. And she notices that he's doing that. Because, And then she's like, God, I've got another 7 months with this guy. And he's doing all these little things. And plus he was a complete douchebag.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's not what it's about. So.
Okay. What did you call it though? When we were talking before, you called it something else, like not a deal breaker. It's
just a preference.
A preference.
Yeah.
Okay. So where should we start with this? Should we start with
what
that?
are your preferences?
What are my preferences? Okay.
We've discussed these on the show before, but just for repetition's sake.
So they have to be into fitness. I don't mean they have to be like power lifter, bodybuilder. They just have to like staying fit, moving their body.
I think what you said was not that they have to be into fitness, but they have to not be against fitness.
Yeah.
Because some people think people who work out are dicks.
Yes, that's very true.
Or
obsessed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not. It's just you're looking after yourself.
Yeah, like if you understand that I'm going to go to the gym or I'm going to go for a walk or I'm going to dance in my lounge room, then that's fine. You don't have to do it. Just understand.
That's part of your thing. So, but if someone's going to criticize you for that, then they're not for you.
No.
Or if someone who doesn't at least put any effort into it is not for you.
Agreed. Yeah.
But that's something you'd work out really soon. You'd make that clear.
Yeah.
Like you say, and I know when you're on dating apps, you had it on your profile into fitness.
Yes.
So, and then that guy messaged you going, oh, you know, I've got a dad bod and I don't work out, making all these excuses.
Yeah.
It's like, well, then
why are you messaging me?
What's it like?
Yeah, unless
it's not
like,
about you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like that's why I put like into coffee and, you know, eating ice cream because I like that too.
Yeah.
So if you don't like coffee, go away.
Yeah. Well, but at the same time.
I'm kidding.
Yeah, I was just going to say, but playing devil's advocate based on what you said, I know that's not really what you think.
No.
But if that was a quote unquote deal breaker where it's like you ask someone out for coffee. Okay, our friend who we've spoken about before.
Yes.
I think we've called her Sarah in the past,
Yeah. Oh,
but
yes,
you know
Sarah.
who I'm talking
yes,
about.
I do. Yeah.
She doesn't drink coffee.
She doesn't. Hot chocolate.
Yeah.
I know.
But she's not going to say, well, you don't drink coffee, we can't date.
And she
it's her choice.
That's true. She also doesn't drink alcohol.
Yeah. Yeah.
But she still goes out and has a good time.
That's right.
Yeah.
And so there will be people who will be like, oh, you don't drink. Ooh.
I know.
Or, oh, you do drink. Ooh. You know.
But also my attitude is even if you don't drink, you can still have fun. It's not
Absolutely you can have fun.
There's this attitude that if you don't drink, you don't have fun.
Yeah. I think it's like it also comes with one of those things where going out, like a lot of times when you're like, for me when playing gigs and stuff, you don't drink. Okay, so you go out to a pub and people are drunk, and then they find out you're not drinking, and they're all like, and they try and act all sober.
Yeah,
because they feel weird about being around someone who's not drinking. And it's like,
yeah.
what's that all about? You know?
Yeah. Although I think it's funny when you're the sober one, everyone's drunk. It's hilarious.
Yeah, yeah. Or it's like so someone sent me a video of someone who's obviously like on ecstasy or something, and they're doing the face chew and the uncontrollable.
Everything's going.
But in their little world, they're like they're having the ball.
Yeah,
but
best
they're
time
like,
ever.
everyone else is just kind of like, oh, yeah. Actually, have you seen that the videos with the sad face filter?
Yes, that's crying. Insane. I love that one.
People in a club and they're dancing.
Yeah.
They're all looking at the camera like, ah.
Such a good filter. I like that one.
I was looking at it. I do love a good facial manipulation
Yes.
filter. So yeah, but well, going back to that, so your preferences or your deal breakers?
Smokers.
Mm-hmm.
I don't. It's like I tried with the American and I just hated it.
You know, my take on that is I've dated smokers, but they're respectful smokers. So if I say, don't want you to smoke around me, would you mind going outside? And definitely don't smoke in my car. And then you'll have smokers who'll be like, have a smoke and then have a breath mint or a chewy straight after so their breath doesn't stink because they're aware of it. I'm cool with that. But what you're referring to is someone who didn't give a shit about what you actually wanted.
Oh, and so what he'd do is he'd have a skull of orange juice. Yes. One.
What's that supposed to do?
I don't know, cover up. I don't know. Yeah.
Chew on some mint or some garlic.
Orange juice.
Yeah, that doesn't work.
I know.
Yeah, so do you think that's more about like the type of smoker? Because some smokers they're not going to respect your wishes on that, because you could quite easily date a smoker. But I know for you it comes from a fitness perspective.
It's more a fitness thing. I think I even said that when I messaged you. I was like, how could you put something disgusting and ruin your lungs?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's fair enough. But let's also go back to the whole somebody sitting in this room used to be a smoker.
I did.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I know. So I'm now an ex-smoker who has a halo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it does. Reformed smokers are the worst non-smokers.
The worst.
Me, I've never smoked. And I'm like, your body, you want to destroy it with that. I mean, I eat freaking burgers full of fat. I don't eat them all the time. And I've cut right down, but it is something that I do. But I also, I'm not going to get too bogged down in food, because that's, as you know, where you create disordered eating habits by going,
Definitely.
I'm afraid of carbs, I'm afraid of fat, or whatever.
Yeah. And I think with my smoking, when I do things, I do them. So I started smoking at 20, and then I smoked religiously for like 18 months, and then I quit. But I've smoked. So yeah.
But what else?
Okay.
For
and the
you?
other thing for me is arrogance. I can't stand arrogance.
Okay. So in what, like just a general arrogance?
Oh, maybe it's because I hang around a lot of gym people, and I just find arrogant people immediately think that they are better than you. Are my children fighting?
That was an interesting noise. Yeah.
As in like a death noise, or like?
I think they're still alive, but
Okay.
that was caught my attention, that one. I don't know if anyone will be able to hear that.
Hopefully not.
But there was a scream from the other room just now. Yeah.
Gotta love it.
We'll keep an ear out for that.
Yeah.
I
will know if someone's like injured. They'll open the door.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
So,
I hope.
So just on the arrogance thing. So when you refer to that as a deal breaker, I'm kind of like, when we were talking about love languages last week, and you're just like, these are just normal human expectations, which they are. I mean, that's what we kind of resolved it to be.
Yeah.
Isn't that just a general normal human expectation that arrogant people are shit?
Yeah, true. Okay.
So isn't that everyone's deal breaker?
No,
Shouldn't
some
it be?
people like that. I think some women or men like the idea of like they find arrogance and that sort of like
Are we
more
blurring
superior.
the line of assertiveness?
Well, perhaps. But I think...
Because I'm pretty damn assertive.
Yeah, but you're not arrogant.
No.
Whereas I think sometimes people don't realise that an arrogant person, and a very assertive person can end up being arrogant at the same time.
It also comes down to the perspective of the person on the receiving end of said arrogance, because I don't want to call people soft, but some people have softer dispositions, and whereas someone talking to me with a certain level of assertiveness, I'm just like, don't even notice it.
Yeah.
Whereas they could talk to another person who's a little bit more timid and be like, holy crap, that person's super aggressive and arrogant. Or, you know, self-assuredness can come off as arrogance.
Maybe that's more what it is. But I think also because as a female, I find that some men like to remind you or me, females, that they are, you know, better than me.
Yeah, because, you know, I'm a caveman. And I need to be the alpha.
Exactly. Which I would see that as arrogance.
Yeah. I think we've spoken about this before, but alphas don't have to go around saying they're alphas. They just are, and everyone knows that.
Yes.
And a true alpha, if you said, oh, you're pretty alpha, they'd be like, am I?
Yeah, they don't even know.
Don't know. They just that's just who they are, you know. So I think I don't even like that kind of term.
No.
But so me personally,
yes,
mine falls once again into personalities that I expect that most of humanity wouldn't like. I don't like racists.
No, I don't either.
Now, I don't like homophobes.
Same.
I don't like bigots of any kind. I don't like misogynists.
Same.
So, but that's just normal human stuff, right? It's a, hang on, I'm just going to do this. There we go.
Okay.
That'll help.
It was super, I was very confused.
Yeah. So let me just touch these things. There's a window into what we do here.
Yeah,
now.
we keep an eye on the time.
Yeah. But yeah, so those things, I think that it's just normal, but you can't tell straight away. And that's why there's a getting to know you period when you're chatting to someone. And if they like drop the N word or they call someone a gay person a derogatory term or whatever, then you get to back out. So that's a huge red flag that they're a dick. But I'm not going to call it a deal breaker. I'm just going to call it a life preference. An expectation is you shouldn't be racist.
Yeah.
Like that's not, I think everyone who listens to this, if there's any of you who think racism's okay, please stop listening to our podcast.
Definitely.
We don't need you.
And sexist and everything. Yeah.
Like it's, you don't get to judge people on that. So that's not a deal breaker, but it comes into the realm of deal breaking when it's like you don't discover that until like 3 or 5 dates down the road, and then you go, oh shit, they're racist, I'm out. So
it's not, and it's often in times when either you're eating different food or you see people or something happens. Even I didn't realize, like say with my ex-husband, that it comes from a racist family until his dad commented like on Muslims.
Yeah, okay.
And I was like, ooh, and then I'd remind him, I'd say, but my family, they were Jewish and like they were persecuted.
There was a time when everyone in the world hated Jews.
I know.
You know? Yeah.
Back in the day.
Yeah.
But
and we're
some people
talking
still
centuries and centuries and centuries. Like, you know, there's that whole Jews have tails thing. Yeah.
There's lots of things about Jews. Yeah.
But no, and that to me, like I said, that is just a expectation of you're a good human.
I think so. Yeah. So really, we all want a good human.
Yes.
Yes.
That's what it comes down to. Yeah.
Okay. So what about like when you've been dating someone for a small period of time and things happen and then you go.
Yeah. So that's the deal breakers.
Okay.
Because I think that the whole predate preferences thing, people go, if I meet someone and they're a bigot, that's a deal breaker. It's like, well, yeah, of course it is.
Yeah, for most people it is.
Yeah. So we don't need to label that. That's just an expectation of human beings. But the petty little, so we went on a date and he picked his nose the whole time and that's a deal breaker for me. Okay, it's gross. And looking forward into the future, you might not want to spend your life with someone who, when they're like 5 years old and they do it, you can kind of
that's
go,
fine.
You're going to grow out of this. I'm going to let you know that it's gross. Don't do it.
Yeah.
But if you meet someone and they're like 30 and they're picking their nose in public, they're probably never going to change that. And if you can't handle it, cool.
I wouldn't go near a nose picker.
No, it's like, Sorry.
Yeah, that's
Sorry, I was
gross
picking
too.
my nose. Yeah. I didn't, but
No. I thought you were going to do the full, like,
no. I was
the
pretending
blower.
to
You know
pick
when they
my
blow
nose.
out, like
Yeah,
on the
yeah.
footy field?
The Bushman's, it's called. Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know how to
Yeah.
name.
Bushman's hanky. Yeah.
Gross.
Because when you're out in the bush, you don't have a hanky
That's
like
true.
when
So you
you're
just
working
do
on.
a big. Well, the footy players do it on the oval.
Yeah. I'm going to say that there's other ways to deal with it. We're going to get a bit gross here, but you can just hock it back and swallow it. Or you, sorry, didn't mean to actually do that. Yeah, you suck it back and then spit it out.
Yeah.
That's just as gross.
Yeah.
But it's an alternative. It's another way people do it.
Yeah.
But I will just say that the whole nose blow thing,
Yeah.
when you're working out in the farm
Mm.
and you get a face full of like wheat dust and stuff and your nose clags up, you got to
suppose
clear
that
it
makes
up.
sense.
You have to blow it
Yeah,
out.
yeah.
So that's kind of like,
Okay.
but you wouldn't do it in front of someone on a date.
No.
It's a discreet thing. It's like farting. We all do it. But
So one of the girls though at the gym was telling me that her friend has never weed or farted or done any sort of toileting in front of her husband.
yeah, how long have they been married?
Like 10 years or something.
Oh, Jesus. By that time, you'd like, you're shitting with the door open.
Right? Yes.
Having conversation.
No.
Okay, sorry. Some people are going to be like, no, you don't. I don't
Okay,
yeah.
okay, fine. So we say like, okay, poos are off. Maybe you're
Yeah.
always classy. Weeing?
Yeah, you could do that around
No,
each
she's
other.
never done it.
Because like in my bathroom, for example, the toilet's in the bathroom.
Yeah.
Going back, I had a girlfriend who would I'd be in there having a shave, and she'd just walk in and just sit down and
Yeah.
start going to the toilet
Isn't
next
that
to
normal?
me. And I'm like, oh, well, just doing a thing. It's not like I'm watching going,
No.
oh, wee-wees. That's a bit weird. But it was actually funny because we're sitting having a conversation. We'd been together for, I don't know, maybe 6 months. And she just out of the blue goes, so when are you going to fart in front of me?
Whoa.
And I'm like, what? And she's like, well, you've never farted in front of me. And I'm like, do you want to fart in front of me? And she's like, oh, that's not what I'm saying. I'm like, are you sure? Because like it sounds to me like you'd need me to do it first.
Yes.
And she's like, yeah, no, it is. She goes, I do want to get to that point where I'm comfortable to fart around you, but I need you to do it first.
That's
and I'm
fair. Yeah.
like, okay. So at some point later, I'm like, just dropped one. And she was like, oh, God, thank you so much. Like, not the same day, but like a few days later, we're at my house. And so I've just like, I was in the kitchen and she goes, did you just fart? And I'm like, yes, I did. She was in another room and she's like, oh, that's so good. And then she was comfortable to fart. But it was
There
just
you
a
go.
thing for her. She's
So
like, I can't be
silly.
the first one to fart.
I understand. I think I'm the same. Yeah, I get it.
But
yeah.
first date, farting, deal breaker?
Yes.
Yeah? Because they don't have any consideration for your, you know.
It's social etiquette.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because then that's an indicator of bigger things.
Yeah, like they have no understanding of etiquette at all. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I went online
Mm.
and I found a list.
Oh, a list.
I love a good list. So
Lists
I've
are good.
compiled a list.
Okay.
Okay. So I'm going to bring that up there so we can both read it. But
Yeah.
the I don't know if the the viewers will be able to read it. So let's just go through them. So the first one here, illegal substances.
What about steroids?
Mm.
Like, I have no problem if I dated a guy who was a gym junkie who's into steroids.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of gym guys do it.
Yeah, they do.
So I'm fine with that. But
Yeah.
if he's like doing lines in the kitchen, yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
That's fair then. But that's one of those things that do you ask that up front? Do you do drugs? Like when it's in your dating profile,
Yeah.
you like kind of go, I'm not into people who do drugs.
Yeah, I don't tend to do that, but like a lot of guys or girls will put like their 420 friendly.
Yeah.
So I will swipe left on them.
Well, because they're letting you know that
That
they smoke weed.
Yeah, and I'm
So,
not interested in that.
yeah.
So I swipe left. So I like that.
So good on them. So yeah.
Do you know-
It's just
can I
like, or if they put clouds, you're like, they smoke meth.
Yeah.
So you would stay the fuck away from that person.
Yes.
Yeah.
Do you know one time I had a guy swipe on me, or I swiped, we matched, and he said to me, this is within 2 sentences, I'd really like to do lines on your titties.
Cool story, bro.
Obviously, I unmatched him.
It's like, I'm just going to say that anyone's breasts are not are not an appropriate surface for doing lines.
No.
They're curved.
They are.
They're not flat and smooth and like, we've all seen the movies. You do it on a mirror, on a piece of glass or on a book or
Definitely
something.
not breasts.
Boobs, nah. I mean, that's just that's a weird fetish.
Yeah, it is a weird fetish. Anyway.
I mean, well, all fetishes are kind of weird to somebody,
true.
but yeah, that's a fetish. That's a strange thing.
Anyway, sorry, that's got nothing to do with this, but I just wanted to bring that up. I
So-
love a good story.
This part here,
Yes, is that related to someone who is poly?
exclusivity, like they don't want to be with someone who's
Wants to be exclusive.
wants to be exclusive.
So
yeah,
they're poly, or they're just
possibly.
interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
Or they just want to
So they just
make
want to
sure
sleep
that-
around.
or they're saying we're allowed to have friends.
Okay. Or
Where
they're
they're like-
open relationship.
Yeah, possibly. But I think I'm reading that as a few different ways. Exclusivity could mean that you are the only thing in their life,
Okay.
like, but at the same time, cohabitation, like,
So basically they're saying that someone that wants to move in is
or
a
someone
deal
who,
breaker.
yeah, someone who doesn't have their own thing going on is a deal breaker. Like, so if
As
you-
in they've got flatmates.
no, cohabitation
Means living with someone.
means living with
Yeah.
someone, but it can also be like an emotional thing as well.
Okay.
Like, but yeah, they don't want someone to actually be 100% part of their
Okay.
life. Yeah.
Very specific.
Mm.
Okay.
So this line here, arrogant, rude entitlement. Once again, expectations.
I'm sorry. I just want to move to line 3. Boring. So I just feel like that's people might think we're boring, like
They
with our
might.
obsession with music and things like
Yeah.
that. Or that because I like AFL, maybe that's boring.
Yeah.
Maybe people who are really into like art, someone might see that as boring.
Yeah.
I don't. That's a very
Reading
general
books.
statement. Yes.
There's nothing boring about books,
Nothing.
but watching someone read a book's pretty boring.
Very boring.
You know what? I got a saying. Only boring people get bored.
Correct. Yes. And everyone has their own passions.
Yeah.
Like I like knitting. Yeah, it's probably boring to other people.
It's when you're maybe they're talking about like, but see that's putting it, that's your own problem.
Yes, correct.
Like if you think someone else is boring, why are you that bored?
Yeah.
Like, are you getting bored with this person because they're boring? That's a you problem.
Yes, yes. Maybe you need to be like, hey, let's try doing something.
Yeah. Because there's two people involved in this situation.
Usually. Yeah.
So, yeah, if you think something's boring, maybe that's you. Maybe you just need to
Do
I
something.
don't know. What is boring? Like for me, like I skateboard, right? It's pretty fun.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say it's boring. It's dangerous. It's exciting. It's a bit of a rush. It's challenging. It motivates you to persist, to achieve things. It's really good for kids because like learning how to skate is really difficult. It's one of the most difficult pastimes. I mean, you see it at the Olympics this year. Those guys are insane. It's
They're amazing.
It's acrobatics combined with like, landing on the board. It's very tricky. But some people will go, oh, skating, that's so boring, because it's an individual pursuit. And if they're not into it, they've got to watch you do it, and that might be boring.
That's true.
So-
It's a bit like when I'm coaching people, they don't like to do the same exercise every week. They want change it up, even though it works better. Progressive overload is better. The same exercises for 6 to 8 weeks.
Yeah.
But they find that boring, so they'll never really see a change in their bodies. But
Yeah.
they don't care because they just like to feel like they're dying.
Yeah, okay. Like I said, only boring people get bored. And if you get bored with something, then you need to maybe find a way not to be bored.
Very true.
So, you can always, I don't know.
I feel like that's a silly deal breaker. Boring.
you're boring. Yeah.
Oh, boring.
Yeah.
What do they want you to be doing? Like jumping up and like around the room like jackass every day? Is that what they're thinking?
Go skydiving. Like you'll run out of things to do, and anyone will tell you, like, okay, Formula One drivers. Okay, what do those guys do for a thrill?
I have no idea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a pretty thrilling thing.
Yeah.
You can't say there's anything boring about that.
Nothing.
Does that mean that because their life is on the edge constantly, or, fighter pilots, do they then go and just play solitaire?
Maybe they do.
And to them, that's great fun.
Yeah.
Or do they just find what everyone else does boring?
They're just like, I don't like you. You're boring.
I don't think they do.
No, they don't.
No, they're just like, this is my job, and
Yeah.
I get a thrill out of it. But that doesn't mean that, knitting socks is boring
Exactly.
for yourself.
Yeah.
Anyway, we've spent
moving
enough
on.
time pulling
Yes.
the piss out of that person.
Okay.
And no vices, obviously.
Whatever.
What?
What does that even mean? I mean, I know what it means, but we all have a vice.
We
all
do.
of us as humans.
Yeah. Lifting heavy things,
Yeah.
is a bit of a vice
Yeah.
because it's and people have said to me, oh, you must really love working out. Well, not necessarily.
Sometimes it hurts.
It hurts and it's
Yeah.
hard. But then when you're finished,
feels
all
amazing.
the endorphins and the adrenaline
Yeah.
are great. And then you get to look in the mirror and go, I look good. I feel
Yeah.
good. I enjoy the result of the workout.
Mm.
It can be a vice. Watching footy religiously.
That's a vice.
That could be a vice because it's something that you feel that you can't go without.
Mm.
That's my interpretation
Yeah.
of a vice. For me, good food is a vice because if you took away my ability to taste things,
It would be very sad.
life would be over. Yeah, or not. That's a bit dramatic, but you know what I'm saying.
I know.
Yeah.
My vice is probably I don't know.
Mm.
No, maybe I don't have any exercise.
Yeah.
Energy drinks, bangs.
Oh, I smashed 2 energy drinks in the car on the way down
There
here.
you go.
I've already gone over my doctor's recommended 400 milligrams of caffeine a day. No, actually, I think I'm on about 300, and I had a shot at 70 in a shot of coffee, plus 2 energy drinks at 160 milligrams. So I'm sitting on about 400 milligrams of caffeine right now, and I'm probably going to have more. But anyway,
I'm not judging
that's all good.
at all. I like the next one. Read the next one.
Vegans that keep going on about how my lifestyle is wrong.
Ooh, evil vegan.
So how dare those people love animals and the
Oh,
planet? And
Terrible.
what's it got to do with... Okay, I get the preachy bit, the going on about my lifestyle is
That's
wrong.
CrossFitters as well.
Yeah, well, that's a lot of people.
Yeah.
That's religion.
Yeah,
Some religions, they're all about forcing their shit
Yeah.
down your throat.
definitely.
I think the issue there is not the vegans, it's the don't preach to me.
Yeah, so that could be a deal breaker, preaching about something they're obsessed with.
Yeah.
To the point of boredom.
Yeah. I mean, well, that's the thing. I sit here and I'm I love technical shit. So
Yeah.
whether you're interested, let's see, but you're really good at going, that's interesting. Where I'm look what I did. Isn't this cool? I did this when
And
we
I'm
recorded that song.
Oh, that's amazing.
That's wonderful. But so you're also a mum, so you've got to be, oh, that's a great drawing that you've, I don't know what it is, but yeah, that's you, mum. Ah, it's going on the fridge.
Yes, yeah, it's a mum thing.
Yeah.
It is, yeah.
So I appreciate it. That's
Oh, wow, this person's really angry.
oddly specific. Do you want to read that?
They also people that play quokka soccer. That is very specific. I would feel like that's maybe 0.01% of the population.
Yeah,
Do we need to explain that in more detail for anyone
what a
who's not
quokka
from
is.
Perth?
It's kicking a quokka.
Yeah.
A quokka is like a little marsupial
Yes.
that lives on Rottnest and only Rottnest. And because they're so unharmed by humans, they're super trusting. So they will allow you to approach them. Most animals, wild
No.
animals, won't allow you to approach them. A quokka, you can see celebrities getting selfies with them because you can lay on the ground next to a quokka and take
Do a selfie, yeah.
But they're as big as a rabbit. And because they're so friendly, there's
Everyone
this-
loves them.
That's it. But people
Some.
kick them. That's
is very
quokka
mean.
soccer. Yeah.
But I don't think I ever say to someone, oh, hey, first date, hey, so just to confirm, fan of quokka soccer?
It's more about I like animals.
Yeah. I think most of us like it. You know what? Someone that doesn't pat a dog, I've got a dog. If you came into the house and didn't pat her, I don't think we could be friends.
My dad said to me once when I was, I don't know, very early teenager, maybe 12 to 14 years old, He said never trust someone who doesn't like animals
That's true.
and don't have anything to do with someone who would harm an animal.
Agreed. Yeah.
So people who
Play quokka soccer.
if you harm animals, you are a low-life piece of shit. It's like people who harm children, people who harm anyone about it, but like on purpose. But harming children, harming old people and animals, anyone
awful.
who's basically defenseless, you are a piece of shit.
Agreed.
So whether that's a deal breaker or once again a basic human expectation of good people.
The more we read, the more I'm like, this is just like, these people just like nice humans.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, the next one. Can I read that?
Yes.
Also, Peter. They're the most hypocritical organisation that exists.
This person has very strong feelings about vegans, animal cruelty. So I know vegans who hate preachy vegans.
I was
who
a vegan.
Also hate. Yeah, I know. Yeah. But they also hate Peter.
I hated Peter.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because they just make everyone else feel like you're just second rate.
So maybe this person actually is a vegan.
No, because they said going on about how my lifestyle is wrong. So they're a meat
Oh,
eater.
okay. So they're a meat or an omnivore. That was actually really funny because someone, it's your lifestyle. It's not a lifestyle. It's
just eating food.
Eating choice, yeah.
So when I was a vegetarian, I dated meat eaters. And there was never an issue. You just work around it. Can we say that you're dating a vegetarian?
Yeah. It's like people would say, that someone was telling me about someone who's a vegan who's married to a butcher.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
That's love. Yeah.
So heavy smokers, we've discussed that. Drinkers and drug takers, they left the R out. Drinkers, like you're not allowed to drink at all.
Like water, or are we talking alcohol?
No, I don't know. I think we're being smart asses here,
We are.
but
Okay, so no, I mean, to be truthful, my ex-husband, I know I bring him up a lot, but that was a 14-year relationship, so I suppose that's why I bring him
big
up.
part of your life, yeah.
Yeah. He was a big drinker, and I used to always say to him, you need to have at least 1 or 2 alcohol-free nights a week. So, and it used to really upset me because he drank way too much. So now I don't drink really. So I prefer people who don't drink a lot. But I'm not going to be like, well, no, sorry.
I love a glass of wine with a nice dinner. I don't do it every night of the week, but maybe once a week I'll drink wine with dinner because it's a taste thing. Yeah. It goes well together.
But
same as Coke. I love sugar-free Coke. Like I won't drink
Addicted.
full strength Coke anymore.
That's my vice.
But Coke, there you go.
Yeah.
Coke is freaking fantastic with some foods.
I know.
It's just like, and especially if it's like sparkly, cold, freezing, just fresh.
Out of a bottle.
Yeah, and you just pour Coke.
Glass
and
bottle.
And then you have like a burger or a pizza or something greasy, and the acid in the Coke just goes, we're best friends. Oh, it's great. Anyway, drinkers.
Yeah.
Drug takers.
Yes. Next one.
I smashed a couple of Nurophens yesterday. It was freaking fantastic.
Whoa.
All right.
Next one. Wife beaters. I feel
Basic human expectation.
Yeah. I don't really want any. That's the same with like people who are mean to animals, anything like that. People who like, but again, that's a really hard one to judge. I don't usually say on the first date to confirm, are you a fan of beating up women?
Yeah.
It's not really something I ask.
No.
And obviously if someone is physically abusive to me, yes, I will leave.
Yeah, hope
But
so.
again, that's not usually known in the first couple of dates.
No.
They hide that very well.
Very well. So, yeah, I'm a bit confused by that. So maybe this person has experienced
I'd
abuse.
say so. Also because continue reading on to the next one, which is very specific.
Aggressive drinkers. Yeah.
Yeah,
So this
which
person's been abused.
Yeah.
Yeah. So obvious and verbal abusers.
Yeah. All of that just says that someone has
they've
been,
experienced that.
And of course that would be a deal breaker.
Yeah. So it's to me that's also just it's an expectation. Like, but you don't know. Like, what do you do? How do you judge that? Do you go out and on the first date encourage the person to get drunk so you can see if they're aggressive?
Right. And then make someone like push them a little bit in a line.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or antagonize them
Yeah.
so you can get into an argument and
Yes.
see how they abuse.
Exactly.
Sorry, we're not making fun of abuse.
No, we're not. We're really not. Yeah.
But yeah, that, how do you know?
You don't. And also, let's be honest, those people are often the smoothest people in public anyway.
Yeah.
It's behind closed doors
Well,
what they do.
Someone said something to me once, going back a couple of years at work, and I've said this in heaps of situations where people are like, oh, so I met this guy and he was so nice. And then they're like, oh, but he just comes across so nice. And I'm like, so you heard of Ted Bundy?
Yeah, he was really nice.
He was real nice.
Yeah.
He was good looking. He was educated. He was, he was smart.
Yeah, he's smooth.
He didn't get to put 36 women in his car by being an asshole.
Yeah.
He picked it, and they were like, oh, yeah, I'll go with you.
Yeah, you seem
Yeah.
trust.
I mean, they didn't all go in his
Yeah,
car,
no.
but you know what I mean? He had that, that was his MO. He, pick women up and give them a ride somewhere because they trusted him because
Yeah.
he was nice.
Yeah, it was a bit
Being
like
nice is not good enough.
No, like Ivan Milat, same
Yeah,
thing.
yeah.
Like, come in, get a lift with me. You're,
Yeah, I'm friendly. And
yeah, I've got a truck.
unlike, there's some serial killers who are just like, yeah, I'm just going to hit you on the head with a hammer and put you in my van and that's it. Some of them, like Ted Bundy, they have to be charismatic and but that's just what they do, and then they get away with it. So someone saying, oh, I was so surprised he was the nicest guy and then he turned on me. Well, you don't know they're going to turn on you, and that's not necessarily a deal breaker. That's just it's a normal human thing.
Yeah.
If someone turns on you and they bash you or abuse you, that's bad. And unfortunately, they often wait until, they don't wait. It's just, it doesn't show himself until you are firmly trapped.
And that love's there, and then you don't want to leave them because you
can't.
love them.
Yeah. And so people criticize victims of abuse by like, why didn't you leave? Put yourself in their shoes.
Yeah.
It's not that easy.
It's not.
Yeah.
No.
So moving on from the wife beaters.
Dishonesty and possessiveness or clinginess. Well, that's two sort of different things. But yeah. Okay. Well, no one wants someone who's dishonest.
No.
And possessiveness or clinginess, again, that doesn't show up early on.
No. And I've known people who have been like, well, you can't talk to my girlfriend. Who do you think you are? It's like, how about you give her the respect of being a human being who can tell them not to talk to her herself if she doesn't want them to, or just let her talk to people.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, apparently not.
No.
So go on. Which one are you going to read next?
Well, that's just a duplicate here. Okay.
Yeah, dishonesty.
So
that one.
Zero effort.
Just in life or appearance?
I don't know. Maybe I think when people say that, they're saying they put zero effort into the relationship.
Oh.
Because they expect it to be a two-way street. But some people, okay, I've watched a video it's comedy where it's like asking a woman what she wants to eat. And then it's like it turns it into a Who Wants to Be a Millionaire thing. It's like, what do you want for dinner?
Ooh.
Do you want A, tacos?
Yum.
B, pizza?
Yum.
C, I'll let you decide. And then the woman's like, oh, I don't know. And it's a joke because it's like that happens all the time. What do you want for dinner? I don't know. What do you want?
Oh, yeah.
I hate that. It's like if I ask you what you want and you say, I don't know, what do you want? I'm like, sweet, we're having this.
And then you'd be like, oh, that's not what I want for dinner. Well, you had an option.
You had an option
yeah.
to give me, but you've said, what do you want?
Yeah.
But then I become arrogant by saying, no, you're not. You don't get a choice anymore. What's better is like I say, what do you want for dinner? They say, I don't know. What do you want? And I go, oh, I feel like chicken. And they go, don't really feel like chicken. Then I'm like, okay, well then you need to have some input, or I'll give you another option. How about burgers?
Yeah.
Whatever. But the zero effort comes in where they don't give any input whatsoever. Or I think maybe it comes to like organizing dates.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
I think a lot of people they say someone else isn't putting any effort, but they're not putting any effort in themselves. They're just expecting the other person to do everything.
Yeah.
And if they don't, like some people are quite submissive and
Yeah.
they require someone
To do all the work.
to do all the work.
Yeah.
And it's not that it's just that's
That's who they are.
that's who they are. They need someone else to make decisions, or they want equality.
Mm-hmm.
There's nothing wrong with that.
No.
So that's fair, I think.
Yeah.
But it's also kind of like, is that just a red flag straight up when you're, when you're chatting to someone online and then they're like, oh, so do you want to go out? And you go, yeah, that's great. And then they go, cool. And then you're like, so there's usually a follow-up question.
Like, where do you want to go?
So I've spoken this before. By the point of time when me asking you out, I've already found out what you're into.
Yes.
I already subtly discuss food, so I know where your tastes lie and whether you like fancy things or you like a little bit of like slumming it. Like, I'll work that stuff out. Then when it comes, you might like a dirty burger on park bench.
You know what? I'm on quite a low calorie deficit at the moment, and every time you mention a burger, I'm literally like salivating.
I'm going to go home and make burgers for dinner and send you photos of it.
That's just
and then I'm going to deadlift. Full of calories. So you work that stuff out and then you say, so would you like to meet? Yeah, cool. Well, let's just have a casual drink because I'm not about dinner first date.
Yeah, we know
so you
that.
have a
Everyone
drink and like you meet them, but then you might go, oh, this is going really well. Let's go grab some food. I know a great Japanese restaurant. And then they go, oh, I love Japanese. And I'm like, yeah, I know because I already found this out. But that's a bit of effort. When you go, they're murdering each other again.
Welcome to my children.
Just to clarify, the kids are playing Fortnite.
Yeah.
So they're not yelling at each other. They're probably yelling at someone online.
Oh, lots. It's like it's about 3 or 4 in my oldest son's class who all play, and then my youngest plays with them. And because my youngest doesn't have headphones, the voices come through a little bit with his switch.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
But they're very vocal.
Yeah, you have to be. You're communicating. They're strategizing.
Yeah.
But anyway, what was I saying? The zero effort part of it. That's I kind of get it. But at the same time, I'm also kind of like, well, I'll just step up.
Yeah, but a lot don't want to, I think. I don't know. I get it, but I think, well, yeah, I don't know. I think they're being a little bit pedantic.
Once again, it's
human?
Perception. Yeah. It's your perception of like, it's like talking about being boring.
Yeah.
Like someone's perception of zero effort. Maybe they're wanting the other person to make all of the decisions and do everything, or maybe they just want equals.
I used to have a friend back in the day, like when I was young, like when I was sort of 17, 18, and like she would never make a decision. I'd be like, this is how it would go. What should we do tonight? And she's like, I don't know. I'm like, okay, well, let's go to Freo. I don't want to go to Freo. I want to go to Rockingham. So we're going to Rockingham then? Yeah. And it was like she wanted me to give her an option so she could then say, no, I want to do that. But instead
of just being assertive enough to say, this is what I would like to do and what do you think?
Yeah.
And then you can go, not really a big fan of that. Oh, great.
Yeah. But it was always, even I remember we went to Adelaide and I said,
Adelaide?
Yeah.
Sorry, celebrate. Sorry.
And I said, oh, look, there's a really cool like wine and beer festival like in the Barossa. Do you want to do that? She's like, no. I'm like, okay, well, there's this. She's like, no, my uncle's got a pub in Port Adelaide. I want to go there. Cool. And you know what I should have done? I should have said, I'm going to the Barossa Valley.
Yeah.
So then I got stuck at this pub in Port Adelaide.
Fun.
Anyway, but just that's a zero effort.
Yeah, it is. It's slightly manipulative.
It is manipulative. Yeah. We're not friends anymore.
Which then we move on to the lying. No one likes a liar.
No.
It's not a deal breaker. It's an expectation.
Exactly.
But you have to figure it out. So when you do figure out they're lying, that's a deal breaker for everybody. That's normal. You don't like liars.
So, okay, the American, right? When I said to him, like, I'm not sure I want to see you anymore, and we sat down and discussed it, and I said to him, look, a couple of things. One, smoking, and he was like, yeah, I'm quitting. He obviously never did. I said, and 2, drug taking. I don't want anything to do with that. So if that's what you do, because I've realized that some, like his friends were into that, I said, then I don't want to be around you. And he said, I don't do drugs, Skye. And he stared at me and said, I don't do drugs. Anyway, then like later on, like after I'd like not been with him, his ex-girlfriend, who I know, then sent me videos of him like clearly high on drugs, like laughing and being. And so he looked me in the eye and said, "I don't do drugs."
What about little white lies, like people doing things like, "Oh, I love football. Football is so great. It's a huge part of my life." And then you go, "Oh yeah, I'm into football."
Yeah.
And you're just not.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. I think you do. Like when you first like someone, you just want to be like, you just want to be part of their lives.
Oh, I've read Virginia Woolf. No, you haven't.
That's just dumb. Why would you lie about that?
But you can quickly go and read some.
Yeah, quickly.
You know?
Google it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I suppose. Or like people that like certain music. Like if you're really into classical music, that's actually a deal breaker for me.
If you're
100%.
not into music.
If you like classical music.
Why?
Because I was married to a violinist.
Oh, okay.
I've spent too much time listening to it. So now if you like, it's not, I'm saying.
If it's your number one obsession.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Goodbye.
Yeah, okay. But that's a trauma-based response.
True.
Yeah.
A lot of these are.
Yeah,
if you
they
look.
are.
Yeah.
I told a massive lie to Billy's mum once.
Right.
When we first started dating, so like really early, I was her manager at work, by the way.
Terrible.
So we were keeping it secret from the other staff, which was fun. We eventually came out. But I was in a band at the time, and the guy
you were in a band?
Yeah. So the guy that I was in the band with at the time, who went on to become very famous and successful, by the way. He's just embarked on a bit of a comeback, so I wish him all the best. But yeah, so in those days, he and I were songwriting partners, and we spent a lot of time together. Actually, I had a relationship that failed because she wrote me a letter, and this was a deal breaker. Here you go.
Okay.
She wrote me a letter saying that I spend too much time with him, and she doesn't like the fact that I'm always like, you know, spending time writing music and working on things with him. And I'm like, he's my partner. Like we work together on songs. We see each other every night. I get that. But I don't not have time for you.
Wow.
You also live in High Wycombe and I live in North Perth, or wherever I was living. It's a bit of a stretch, whereas he lived just down the road. He lived in Wembley or something, you know, so it was not far. But yeah, he was my songwriting partner and we spent a lot of time together. But the fact that she wrote me a letter and said, I don't like this, I don't like the fact that you don't like going clubbing with me and my friends, I'm like, well, I don't have to.
No.
Like, whatever. She's like, oh, and she started to like buy me clothes that were like her friends' clothes and stuff. And I was like, not interested. And then I kind of was just getting a bit, this is a bit weird. But prior to that, and I told you this last night in our messaging, I woke up one morning and looked over and I didn't like her smile.
That's so funny.
And I'm just like, whoa, I can't handle this. And then over the next week, I kind of like thought about it. And then I got this letter from her and she was fully obsessed with like, you know, making something work. But she wanted to change me.
Can't do that.
So
that's a deal breaker.
That's a deal breaker. Don't try and change me.
No.
We'd been dating for 3 months and then she gave me a letter saying she didn't like who I was, basically. And I'm like, I'm a songwriter and this guy's in my band and I was also 25. Like,
it's not like you were 18.
Yeah.
Wow.
I was like, yeah, I'm like, this is what I do.
Wow.
I'm like, it's a bit different now. Like, I'm not doing that. I write songs by myself. But yeah, at that time, I was...
That was
Kate,
you.
You came into the relationship knowing that I write music with this guy. And we spend a lot of time together. And she was just like, I just think you spend too much time with him. Oh, and another thing was like, I met her through her flatmate, who wasn't her flatmate at the time. So whenever I'd go to her house, I would spend a little bit of time catching up with him, listening to some music because we're both into metal. And like, you know, we'd hang out for like 15, 20 minutes and then I'd spend the rest of the night with her.
And she saw that as bad?
She couldn't handle that. She's like, no, you can't. When you come over, you're coming over to spend time with me. I'm like, yeah, but he's my mate.
Yeah. I knew him before you.
I knew him before you.
Yeah.
And so that was a deal breaker,
Okay.
getting all these ultimatums. So
now
don't
tell
give me
me-
ultimatums. I'm out.
Now tell me the lie. What was the lie?
The lie was, sorry, thanks for remembering that. The lie was I rang her and said that he and I were in Mandurah.
Mantra.
Right?
That's very specific.
I was due, well, that's what I said. I was due to go to her house.
Yeah.
Right? And on the way to her house, I rang her up and said, yeah, I'm not coming over. And she's like, oh, why not? I said, because Justin and I have gone to Mandurah. She's like, what are you doing in Mandurah? I said, we came to pick up some gear. Like he's got an amp that he was buying on, Gumtree or whatever it was in those days.
The Quokka.
I think it was Gumtree, but it was something. But anyway, I've kind of gone, no, because this is going back a long time. This is 20 years ago.
Yeah, so the Quokka. Remember the Quokka?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It wasn't. We just made shit up. But
Okay.
So I just said, we've gone to. I was in my car on the way to her house. I was literally 2 minutes from her house, right? And I rang her up and said, I'm in Mandurah. I'm not coming over.
And then where did you go?
To her house.
Oh. That's so random.
So I rocked up and knocked on the door, and she's like, "What? What are you doing?" I'm like, "I've just come over." Like, I said I was coming. She goes, "You just rang me and told me you're in Mandurah," and I'm like, "Yeah,
Oh.
I know, right?" And she's like, "I was really upset with you because she's like, this guy was supposed to be coming to my house, and then suddenly decides he's going to go and like hang out with his mate in Mandurah." Which is like an hour away, which means you're not coming over until later, which was like made me feel like, and I'm like, I didn't think that through, did I?
No.
It was really rude. Like I thought it was funny to like tell her I wasn't, I'm in Mandurah, and then just to rock up at her house anyway.
Okay.
But she was like, that's dodgy. You made me feel like shit.
Do you want to hear, have I told you the IINet story?
No.
Okay, it's sort of along that line. I know it's got nothing to do with deal breaker, but let's tell the story.
Okay, carry on.
Okay, so when I first left uni, I was working at IINet in the domain section where part of my job was to register domains. This is like the old school style when you had to like manually do a lot of stuff. Anyway, my ex-husband called me up and said, didn't call me. He messaged me saying it's over. And I was like, what the heck? So I called him and next thing I could hear him laughing and about 4 other guys laughing. And he's like, oh, it's so funny. We all just messaged our girlfriends and wives to say it's over. Ha, ha, ha.
That's a TikTok. That'd be something you'd do on TikTok. Yeah.
Hilarious. And so I was like, you're an asshole. But I didn't say it to his face. I just went, fine. And then I went, I'm going to register a domain under your name because you're an IINet customer. I am an arsehole.com. Yeah. And it obviously got me fired because you can't do that. Okay. But at the time, like I was like, who does that?
That's
One was pregnant. One of the girls was pregnant.
Man.
Yeah.
Oh man, we're terrible. Men are horrible. I like that really kind of, when I did that, I was like, I didn't think that through.
Well, fortunately,
she could have quite easily gone, you know what? You can piss off. Yeah.
Well, I should have, at that point, I should have said, you can get pissed off. Yeah, you can piss off.
Yeah.
Well,
you can get the pissed off.
I was so angry.
Me fail English? That's impossible. Yeah, so anyway, gaslighting. Once again, I'm just going to say, gaslighting is not a deal breaker because by the time someone gets to, well, it is, okay. Yeah, it should be something that it should be a deal breaker. But gaslighting, if you really look up what that is and how they do it, someone doesn't gaslight you straight away.
No,
they gain
time.
your trust.
Yeah.
So then they get to convince you that you're crazy.
Yeah.
And it's something that happens over time, and you don't know they're doing it.
Yeah. It's awful.
Yeah. So while I can understand you seeing it as a
deal breaker,
nobody wants to be gaslit.
No.
But by the nature of how it works, you don't know they've done it until you get to that point where everything.
It's a bit like abuse, same situation. You don't. You're already in too deep at the time it's happening.
So nobody wants that to happen to them. So fair enough. It's Skip over that because that's been said 3 times.
Oh, come on. Can I read the next one?
This bit? Yeah, go on.
overestimating your own charisma.
Okay. So let's spend a little bit up yourself. So this person doesn't like people who are up themselves. Yeah. Okay. So once again, deal breaker in the first instance, or do you need to take a little bit of time to get to know someone to realize they're doing that?
I don't know. I think you can tell when people are up themselves.
Okay.
Don't you know that when you meet them, you're
Yeah.
like, you are a wanker.
Yeah. Or if you don't have any intuition, you might not.
True.
But then
Yeah.
again, that might be a deal breaker for someone else. People without intuition.
Yeah.
Who are going to be gullible. Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
Um,
Okay, next one. Read it.
Okay.
No.
So reality TV and or soap addiction. Sorry, but if you don't let me watch The Great British Bake Off or, RuPaul's Drag
Love
Race.
is blind.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
You're the problem.
Agreed.
I mean,
yeah.
strong word.
Yeah.
But I like trash
Obsession.
TV. Oh, what is it? Girls 5 Ever.
Girls 5 ever.
That came up on my Netflix recommendations the other day, and I'm like, you're listening. Girls 5 Ever. Yeah, soaps, take it or leave it. But,
Yeah.
people can be what into they want. Like, you don't have to watch it. Get a bloody, just don't go over when they're what. And you know what? TV's on demand these days. So if you don't like the TV shows that your partner likes, well, they can watch them when you're not around. Like, you don't have to hate on someone. So I see you like keeping up with the Kardashians. We can't hang out.
That's right. Well, no, and to be truthful, anyone who likes Kim Kardashian can't be friends with me.
But it's
No, I'm kidding.
It's just a TV show. It's not like, and then there's so many different versions of reality TV. And I'm just going to touch on that. There's no such thing as reality TV.
That is true.
It's not real.
It's all scripted. Okay.
And they're game shows. Like someone
Yes.
might call RuPaul's Drag Race a reality show.
That's
No, it's a
awesome.
game show. Love Island, it's a game
all
show.
game shows.
Survivor, it's a game
Yes,
show.
correct.
It's not reality.
The only reality TV is like Keeping Up with the Kardashians or like Sunset
Where they just follow people
Real
around.
Estate or whatever it's called.
Yeah.
Okay, there is one deal breaker that I need to talk about.
Mm-hmm.
West Coast Eagles supporters. If you're an Eagles supporter, stay away from me.
But wouldn't that make life fun though? You get to like
hate
argue,
them. Hate them.
you know?
Like
Like and twice a season you get to like really fight when the derby's on. Yeah.
I've never dated a West Coast Eagles supporter.
It's so funny.
I never
Would
will.
you put that on your dating profile? Must not be an Eagles supporter.
Oh, I should.
Yeah,
I never have.
I
But
I
I'm
don't.
not on apps at the moment.
Yeah, I'm not into people who are fanatical about anything, but it's still not my problem.
Anyway.
Be fanatical as you want. I mean, when it comes to a partner,
Yeah.
be as fanatical as you want. It's not my thing. Go for
I'm
your
just saying,
life.
like, FYI, people, if you're an Eagles supporter, I'm not going anywhere near you.
Hey, can we just go back on that? Because like a
Yeah.
few episodes ago, we were like, we were going to hook you up. Like, we still want that. Like, if you're
Yeah.
interested in dating Skye, then drop us a line or drop me a line.
Drop
right?
Damo a line.
And I'll veto you.
Yes.
We'll meet first.
And if you know anyone that you think might be awesome for me, I'll go on a date.
Yeah, why not? Like it's dating apps are screw
Yeah,
that.
I
That's
don't
different
do dating
approach.
apps.
Like,
I need
it's-
people to set me up.
We're all friends. It's meeting through friends.
Right.
Friends of the show.
Exactly.
Pushy.
Pushy.
No one
Yeah.
likes that
No.
unless you are super submissive and you actually get off on being pushed
Yeah, and then that's a
around.
kink.
Cool.
We totally need to do kinks.
And we will but that goes into a 24/7 thing because
Yeah.
like you can have your bedroom scene kink like where it only happens in the bedroom, but
Yeah.
then there's dynamics. It's a 24/7 dynamic, and you might like it's with a lot of subs that's called being collared. They get a collar, and then 24/7 they have to do what their dom
Everything's-
says, and if any given time they're like assume the position, they have to like get
I
on
couldn't.
their
I
knees
mean,
or
I
whatever.
couldn't do it.
No, but some people love it.
They love it,
want to
yeah.
be 24/7.
Yeah.
So yeah. The person needs, this is like a negative, like they need to have healthy boundaries and good communication. So what we're saying is if they don't have that,
That's a deal breaker.
it's a deal breaker.
Isn't that just being in a relationship?
Yep.
Cool.
Isn't that just being a human?
Yes.
Because straight up, and I'm going to admit, when it comes to chatting to someone, if they can't communicate,
Yeah, that's a
you're not going
that's
to
a
even
no
push
from
it any
me.
further. Yeah,
It's like when you're messaging and you get, so what are you doing this weekend? Don't know. Nothing. All right. So how was your weekend? Good. Nothing. Then I know. I'm just going to unmatch you.
yeah. But that's like the German. Remember the German?
Yeah.
Who he was like, of course you do. But the everyone hear that tone in Skye's voice there.
What? Yeah. Shut up.
yeah.
Anyway, go on.
The oh, so we should catch up.
Yes.
0 effort.
Yes. You're right, actually. Yeah.
We should catch up. Excellent.
Yeah.
Where's the follow-up?
Yeah.
Where's the cool? What are you doing 3 o'clock Sunday? Do you like hamburgers? Yes. You know, I did that on purpose. Yeah. Like, communicate.
Yeah. True. Yeah.
Don't be boring.
Don't be boring.
Yeah. Get some hobbies.
Yes.
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, that's a list, as I said, of because that, like, just going online and finding what other people say is far easier than doing the work ourselves.
Do we have to wrap it up? Because I've got one more, like...
We kind of do, but yeah,
Okay.
go on.
Do
We
you
got all
remember
the, it doesn't matter how long we go
That's
for
true.
it, whatever.
Do you remember I messaged you with, like, an incident that happened when I first started seeing a guy, and it was to do with the bedroom? That was a deal breaker.
Can
I
you tell
you
the
that story?
Yeah.
Okay, so...
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Just tell the story.
So, like, I didn't realize at the time that he was still married, but told me he separated.
Mm-hmm.
So that would have been a deal breaker. So he said to me in the bedroom, this is an actual statement, get yourself wet.
Yeah.
And obviously I was in shock.
It would just be like, you go grab a bucket and just pour it on your head and then stand there and go, here's your keys.
Yeah. I was in shock. And that was a deal breaker.
Wow. What a Casanova.
Yeah. And then I realized why he was still married and his wife. I feel so sorry for her. And then he messaged me a few months ago. Like, this was 2 years ago. I was seeing him going, hey. And I was like, what are you messaging me for? He's like, I said, aren't you married? He's like, yeah, I'm bored. I'm like, okay, but...
Hi, bored. Cliff.
Yeah.
Drop over.
Also, I'm not going to get myself wet. Like,
yeah.
I couldn't believe it. Yes. Terrible.
Here's the thing. If I'm not wet, okay, let's say I'm a woman.
Yeah.
If I'm not wet, maybe
You're not
enjoying it.
No.
Like, or maybe there's something else. Maybe I don't know.
Just
Maybe
so
I'm
we're
on
clear-
medication.
But also, just so we're clear, nothing had happened other than kissing. And then he said to me, yes.
Oh, so it's not like, okay. So it's not like you were doing things
No.
and then he's gone, this isn't going to work. Get yourself wet. But okay. So
I'll never forget
it's a
it.
body's, like, that's a natural reaction to
Yes.
being aroused.
Yeah.
But we're not going to say that, like, because certain medications can affect it. If you're a smoker, it can affect
If you're
it.
an older woman going through menopause,
It can affect it.
Yeah.
So that's a really offensive freaking thing to
Yeah.
say. Like, so he's just assuming that, oh, what a piece of shit. Like,
Yeah.
I'm just putting it in that context.
Yeah.
Like, if you're actually in, then he's like touched you and gone, but you would then go, oh, that's all right, cool. You wouldn't have
Lube.
to say it. You'd be
Yeah,
like, oh, get some
whatever.
lube because I
Yeah.
know, like, I'm on antidepressants and they
Exactly.
Yeah.
No, this
Get
wasn't even
your
to that point. It was
No.
literally like kissing to the, like, bed, say. And then he said that. Actually, it was to the bed, so I don't know why I'm saying it.
So how did he know you weren't at that point anyway?
No, but that's exactly it. His assumption was, I'm not going to do any of the work. You do the work. And then I'm just going to slide on in.
Fuck off, mate. Christ.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that was
wow.
clearly a deal breaker. I didn't see him after that. And then I found out he was
Can
still
you
married
imagine
and-
saying that to a guy? Like, so get yourself
Yourself
hard.
Yeah.
Like that's straight away going to be That's
Yeah.
Mr. Floppy Town
Right.
right there. Yeah.
I was in shock. I was like, who says that?
Like, get yourself wet. No, suddenly I'm drier than the Sahara, mate.
Right.
Like,
I think if I'd been a cartoon, my jaw dropped. I was just like, what? Who says that?
right.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Just so we're clear, that was also, he was a gym guy, very good looking, great body, but obviously just did nothing in the bedroom. Expected a girl to get herself wet. Yeah. I know, right? I feel like it's a good way to end.
Yeah, I'm just like,
Yes.
what?
How do you...
Men?
Yes, men.
What the?
Yes.
A woman would never say that.
No, ever.
I mean, there are some situations where women would be like, oh, you're not getting it up. What's wrong?
Yes.
Well, nothing's wrong.
Yeah.
Like,
life. I'm tired.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, is that me? Am I doing something wrong
Mm.
here? Well, no, you're not. It's just sometimes
Life.
it's, you know,
Yeah.
I slept for 3 hours and, you know, like,
I
whatever.
didn't eat enough protein. Whatever.
It's-
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
You don't criticize a person for it.
But to say, so I hadn't even
So
taken
yourself,
my clothes off.
Can you just get organized here and I'll be let me know when you're ready and I'll be in, you know?
Yeah.
Nah.
Like Victorian style.
Yeah. Or like, have you seen? Oh God, I watched this show and it was about Orthodox Jews
Yeah.
and like because the sex
Yeah.
rituals.
Yeah. It's pretty full on.
Really,
Yeah.
really full on. And they have to be fully clothed, and
Yes.
the woman's not allowed to move.
No. So you can
Yeah.
imagine how wet she would be.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's painful.
Yes, it
like,
is.
They
Yeah.
give them and the mother-in-law, because like the first time this couple tried to have sex when they got married, they couldn't, and it was super painful.
Yeah.
And it's like also to do with like how scared she is
Yes.
because of what she's heard about it. So the mother-in-law gives the new wife a dilation kit.
Oh my God.
You know, like it's different
Yeah.
sized dildos to like so she can warm up to being ready for her son.
Instead of maybe just like getting herself wet or he getting her wet.
Or him or having some actual foreplay, not
Yeah.
just like because they sleep in separate beds and stuff.
Oh,
Not
that's
just
so
going, oh, it's baby making time,
Yes.
and then climbing on and
But that would have been the same with like Victorian era.
well, they
you
weren't
know?
told.
No.
Like you have to be aroused.
Yeah.
You can't just go, okay, I'm hard now. Oh, why isn't it going in?
Yeah.
I'm not pointing at a
Oh,
vagina.
sorry, I was
I'm
very
like,
confused then.
I'm like, there's no Orthodox Jews having sex here. The Hasidic, it was based in New York. A lot of
Yeah.
Hasidic Orthodox Jews, you
Yeah.
know, with the curly things.
I know
and
the
way
ones,
they're
yes.
dressed and stuff. Yeah, almost Amish to look at.
They
but
are, yeah. And the girls shave their hair and
They
put a
shave
wig
their
on.
and they have
Yeah.
to wear a wig.
Yeah.
I did not know
Oh,
that.
really?
And then
Yeah.
I went and because I watched it in the show, and then I looked it up, and I'm like,
Mm.
wow, when you get married, you have to
Yes.
shave your hair off.
It's a terrible life. I couldn't imagine it.
Oh,
Like, no,
yeah.
I would not want that.
Yeah,
No.
but any kind of religious extremism is.
And nobody really, I think, but the problem is they all see that all Jews must be like that. To be like,
Yeah.
all Muslims must be like that.
Yeah. No, that's the
Very
Orthodox, the
yeah.
Hasidics. Yeah, it's a very
I can't
extreme.
believe they shave their hair and then put a wig on.
Well, I can't believe a lot of the stuff I saw
I
in
know.
that show.
It's
where I was
pretty
just
full
like,
on.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow. And like, but the men, a lot of them are kind of like,
Soft?
yeah.
Yeah. Because they're under
super
mum's
soft.
control.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They just kind of
They just do what they're told.
go along with it. Like, you
Yeah.
have to get your daughter pregnant. And if you can't, you're not a man. I mean, not your
Exactly.
daughter,
Yeah.
your wife, my daughter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not even
You're
that
not a
they're
man.
soft. They just don't have the ability to stand up for themselves. That's what it is. Yeah.
Yeah, it was full on, and they
Mm.
just like this poor guy. It was just like, is your wife pregnant yet? Well, no, she's not. What's wrong with you?
Mm.
Oh, well, you know, there's. But then they have to discuss the fact that, well, she's having problems. I can't actually enter. I can't
So
penetrate her
sad.
because it's painful.
Yeah.
So, but it just they both get criticized. You're not doing the right thing by your man, and you're not getting your wife pregnant. You people are failing at being adults.
Yes.
There's more to it. Anyway, we're not here to talk about people's religious weirdnesses
No.
because we could do that all day.
We could.
Maybe that's a future episode. Sexual activities of religious weirdos.
Oh, that sounds quite interesting.
Sorry to anyone who's religious.
We could talk about
Clearly not.
circumcision for boys and girls.
Yeah, that's a thing.
I know.
There's lots of ritual.
There are.
What do they call it? Ritualistic.
Like cleansing almost.
No. There's a mutilation.
Oh,
Ritualistic.
yeah.
and
Oh, it's
mutilation,
terrible.
Yeah.
Okay.
Anyway, yeah. Let's wrap it up. So
That's-
to sum up my thoughts,
Mhm.
a lot of these deal breakers are either petty as hell
Yes.
or they are basic expectations of who a good person is,
Yeah.
or they're trauma-based.
I really can't disagree with anything you're saying.
Yeah.
I think that's 100%.
But-
yes. Except when someone says get yourself wet.
Yeah,
That's a deal breaker.
That's a deal breaker. So I don't necessarily like the term deal breaker.
No.
But we are all allowed to have expectations
Yes.
and preferences. And if you don't like something about if there's something about people you don't like, that's fine.
Mm-hmm.
And anyone who judges you for that is not worth your time also. And that's a biggest one, is people who would try and tell you who to be. That's,
Yeah,
the
agreed.
colour of my
Yeah,
life,
you are your own person. No one can tell you who you are.
So let's sign off.
Okay.
Till
Good
next
fun.
time. Yeah.
See you later.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to In My Lounge Room. Intro music written and performed by Damo and Skye. This week's outro song was performed by Damo's band 12 Inch Shifter, written by Damo and Skye.